Hey everybody, how the heck is it going? It is I, Caffeine Fox, and I had an amazing opportunity to get a chance to talk to the amazing folks at Furcon, and coincidentally, the program that they kind of helped create, DSS, it offers a whole bunch of really awesome solutions and support for attendees who might have disabilities or need extra assistance. Ever since I heard about it, I was like, tell me more, I need to know more. They do a whole bunch of wonderful stuff for the furry fandom, and I figured, you know what? Why not showcase what they do? So hopefully, if you're going to a con, these things exist. And maybe if you're running a convention, wink, wink, you might want to do some of these as well to help your con out. Because at the end of the day, we all help each other out. But yeah, enough yapping from me. Let's get to this video. I've heard some amazing things about this organization of yours. From a very basic level, I have sort of an understanding of what it is. I'm kind of hoping that, kind of by going through this chance to kind of talk to all of you, you can kind of share with the rest of the fandom of like what they might not know exists out there, and maybe even potentially like how to help out with it. Before we even get into that, I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for lending your time for this. If any of y'all want to find out more information about these wonderful people, I will have links to their profiles down below. So I am joined by these wonderful members from IFC and the DSS team. Would you kind of go around and kind of introduce yourselves, starting with Storm Griffin?
Hello, I'm Storm Griffin. I'm the chairman of Indiana Anthropomorphic Arts Incorporated. We are the organization that puts on Furcon. I've been on this team since we first started this organization now 17 years ago, back when it was just an idea over a pizza party. So it's been an amazing ride. I'll go ahead and hand it over to Ashira now because she's the team lead.
Hey, I am Ashira Pony. I started going to Furcon in 21. I've been going every year since then. This year, 2024, was my second year on staff and my first year leading our brand new team, Dignity Support Services, for assisting our friends with disabilities. And it's been an incredible ride seeing the DSS team come together. And my whole team has been absolutely amazing. Unfortunately, one couldn't be here tonight because of work, Norbert.
Norbert, this one's for you.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Taylor. I started going to IFC in 2016 when I just came to continental US. I took a short break after COVID and I returned this year to form part of this amazing team, which was an amazing experience.
2024 was my first time ever attending any furry convention, let alone IFC.
Oh, wow.
I only went for one day because my friend was like, me and my friend both just happened to be free and was like, hey, there's a furry convention I've really been wanting to go to. You're like the only other person I know locally that's a furry. Let's go. So we went for just one day. And then this year I heard about the fact that DSS was happening. And as somebody who struggles with a physical disability, I was like, I want to help, bring this team, forward, because not just for myself, but for other people who may need these services, because unfortunately, there's not a lot out there. So when I heard that DSS was happening, I applied and here we are.
A year. That's like the Jack Skellington, like that song where he's like, what's this? What's that? Like everything's brand new. And I remember that. Hold on to that feeling.
That's the staph infection just spreads very quickly.
Yes.
My name's Coogie. I've been going to IFC for, I think, 3 years. I've been going to other furry cons for about that long. I've technically been in the fandom since 2004, but I didn't know I was a furry because I thought you had to have a fursuit to be a furry.
Oh, yeah.
Common misconception.
Yeah. So the first time I went to my first furry convention, I was just like, wow, this is amazing. And I still feel that way every time I walk into a furry con. But this is, speaking of staff, this is my first year on staff for IFC. I've actually never been staff for anything, for any con or anything. I've never even volunteered. I just jumped right into staff and it's been a blast. I had so much fun. It's just been a really rewarding experience for sure.
So I guess tell me a bit about the organization.
Furcon was created now 17 years ago to bring a furry convention to the Indiana furry community. We had Midwest Fur Fest and Anthrocon and whatnot back then, and we felt that we wanted to create something like that for the Indiana community and do it in a way that reflected, what it means to be a Hoosier and the spirit we wish to capture.
So is this a system that is kind of unique to IFC, or would you say you kind of do it a little differently than other cons would?
So every convention has common traits, but a unique twist in how they execute. And one of the things that makes Indy FurCon unique is the culture we've developed. And I suppose every con chair would say something similar about their organization. But for Indy FurCon, we really emphasize trying to appeal to the entire needs of the community as a whole, from our young attendees all the way up to older members of our community that perhaps need a little more accommodation or want to have, say, paneling that represents what they experienced in childhood. So we try to be welcoming for all. And in addition, also try to be the best first furry con you can attend.
When was this founded? Because this is kind of like news to me that this was a thing until I just kind of messaged you this year and I was like, oh my goodness, wow, it's a thing.
Yeah, this was something that it actually, I guess, from what I understand, Storm has been thinking about it for quite a while.
Okay.
But it's always been something that with all the staff members, it's kind of been something on the back burner. I realized with my own mobile disabilities, a need there. And I said something at one of the staff meetings last year that maybe we're getting big enough since we had just broke 2,000 attendance last year, 24. And I thought maybe we need to have our own disability support, accessibility services. And Storm piped up as the con chair and was 100% behind and said, yes, it's something that we've been thinking about that we need. And so this has all come about in less than a year. A year ago, DSS did not exist. And it was just after months of Storm and I talking about it earlier this year, I was given the green light by Storm with his backing to go ahead and get started building the program to assist people with disabilities.
That is awesome. It's stuff like this that kind of, it makes me well up a little bit because it's not like, grr, me animal, which I mean, at the end of the day, we're kind of all here for that. But when you kind of go above and beyond and realize that like it's not just like a topic, people are into, it's the people that kind of go along with the topic. And I like that approach.
You're so right, because this was a need that Indy FurCon as an organization has known we need to do something for years. As far back as when our couple con chairs ago, Nikki was in charge, even she back then identified we needed to do something for this. But finding the right people to fill this role is very tricky, number one. And when I saw Ashira really approach me with this, and she has the right combination of life experience, emotional investment in the cause, and drive to, I believe, execute this mission in a way that we would want as an organization. And this took a deeply personal meaning for even myself, because last year I was at another furry con and I saw a person in a wheelchair on the main level in tears, because that con had implemented a bypass system where if you wanted to get in the elevators to go up, you needed to go to the lowest level of the building and get in a queue. No one thought, well, what about the people that are in wheelchairs on the next level up that need to also go up and cannot take a stairs or escalator at all? And they sat there in tears until just so happens I pressed the wrong button on the elevator and stopped on that floor, let them on, and they were talking to me about this. And it really struck me to my core, because every person should feel that they can attend an event in a dignified manner. It's the minimum we can do for one another as human beings, let alone furries. That's also why we call it Dignity Support Services, because some people have a bit of a stigma when they say the term disability. That's not what this team does. This team comes together to promote nurturing an environment where we allow every person, regardless of physical or mental ability, to have a chance to attend Indy FurCon in a dignified fashion. We promote human dignity. That's what we do.
As we should, it's one of those things, right? Now, that kind of blew my mind though, the whole topic of like skipping the elevator to kind of like take a shortcut. Did people end up finding out about that? Or was that just kind of like a unheard of cheat code at the con and nobody really did anything about it?
So in the case of the convention in question, it was an oversight on their part, because no one was on their team that had this as their sole area of responsibility. So they had
Gotcha.
no one advocating, well, what about the people in the wheelchair or the people in the walkers? And it's real easy when trust me, I'd lead a con. When you have a million and one things to make decisions on and crowd management and such, it's easy to accidentally create a circumstance that's not favorable for everyone. And that's kind of what happened. And to their credit, they did correct the situation once it was made aware. They stationed somebody there with an override key, but it took bringing it to their attention for them to realize ruh-roh.
So y'all are kind of like almost like the first line that it would kind of get to, right? Where like now that you have an entire department dedicated to it, you have like points of contact people can go to first. That way it doesn't get to the point where it's like, oh, I guess the con chair heard about this because everybody's mad about it on the internet or something.
Yeah,
Exactly. And sure, I'm going to want you to touch on this.
yes.
But basically, the goal of DSS is to be that first line of contact, not just for, say, you as an attendee, you come to Indy FurCon, you've got a physical concern because your leg hurts, you can't stand, back pain, whatever it may be, right? So you go to DSS to see what accommodation we could provide for you. But DSS does so much more than that, because before you even got to Indy FurCon, DSS is interfacing with crowd management. They're interfacing with their safety team. They're interfacing with their premier lounge team.
Yep.
They're thinking about things like wheelchair space between tables before you even got there. And sure, go ahead and take it away from there, because you have some more to say on that.
Yeah, we had pretty much working with all the different departments, whether it be tabletop gaming, which that was a little bit of a point because they were trying to cram so much in this year. So
of course, yeah.
we had to keep readdressing that. But registration, the lounges, fursuit lounge, even the fursuit parade. And of course, line management and so on. We actually had it set up this year to where we prefer somebody with disabilities to come to our table before they go to registration to pick up their badges, especially if they have a physical disability that keeps them from being able to stand in line for very long. Like myself, I have leg issues, hip issues, and so I can't stand for very long. So to me, it's just a nightmare because I get in so much pain. But if they come to us, then they get a wristband, and then that allows them to go to certain DSS lines. Like, for example, a registration this year had your main registration line, but then we also had a separate line for people with the DSS wristband that's just straight shot, boom, right to the registration people. So almost no waiting, just in and out, get their badges, get them to be able to be let in earlier to particularly the main events, so they can find appropriate seating. Which, if you have any kind of disabilities and you show up to an event and the room is packed and there's not really any place to sit, it can be physically frustrating and painful. I've run into that myself. If you have certain emotional things where you need to find an area that's going to be appropriate, whether it's dimmer lighting or a little quieter area of the room, whatever. But if that's already full, so that's why anybody with a wristband especially at the main events, is going to be able to go in a little earlier than everybody else to choose their appropriate seating.
That's awesome that y'all have that.
We did something very unique with the fursuit parade. I know a lot of people with disabilities. Even I struggle sometimes. I love doing the fursuit parades, but they can be a nightmare for me. So I tried something out at a couple different other cons just by myself, and it worked really well for me. And I incorporated this feeding people in little by little into the parade line, rather than just having everybody lumped at the back or whatever. I mean, little by little, based on the disabilities that they had. And through that, we were able to get a lot of people that might not have taken part in the parade were able to take part of it this year.
That's awesome.
And as far as I know, they pretty much all finished it too. We had little separate seating stations so that if somebody needed to take a break, they could step out of line, have seats available for them. They could sit, rest for a few minutes, and then get up and join the line again. And just all these little different things that we think of.
And to build off of that, just to kind of give you an idea of the innovation we've tried this year, a common concern that you'll hear from other team leads that have tried to provide this level of accommodation is people taking advantage of it that may not necessarily need it, but they just
that was one of the questions I was going to ask. I was like, surely there's somebody out there who's up to nefarious deeds.
So we've already thought of that. And one of the things we've done is created something called a time return pass. So let's say you're waiting to get into the night market. which is very long wait times during peak periods. Obviously, if you have physical or someone that's myself included, a lot of people in a tight area, it can bother your anxiety.
Oh, for sure.
If you are someone that is receiving DSS services, you can go to the entrance and get a time return pass. And what that is the DSS coordinator with the safety team will look at the length of the line. They'll estimate, okay, this line currently has a queue time of about 90 minutes. So they will, if it's 8 p.m., they'll write you a time return pass for 9:30. You can go back to your room or a different area of convention that makes you feel comfortable. And at 9:30, you come back and you'll be let right in. It allows you to wait the same amount of time as someone else that would have waited in the traditional way in line, but do it in a way that's comfortable and dignified for yourself.
That's awesome. It's almost kind of like rather than waiting in line, at like a place to go to, you can kind of put your name on almost like a reservation of sorts to kind of get in there, right?
Yes.
Yes, right. Very much like that.
That's
We also
awesome.
had like elevator priority was another thing we did this year, which is a first for us. And I admit some of the ideas that I've kind of nitpicked from what I've seen at other cons, and some things have worked and some haven't. And so
We steal from one another all the time.
Right. But yeah, the elevator priority thing, we had signs up by the elevators, giving people with the DSS wristbands first priority for the elevators, and then full suitors were after that, and then everybody else after that. So we had big signs up by all the elevators.
Rising tides lift all boats, and we openly share good ideas with one another. This isn't a competition in the negative sense. This is an innovation bowl, and we say what works, and if it didn't work, we tell one another what blew up and why.
In regards to all the services that you have for this wonderful program, have you received any feedback from convention attendees, kind of like this was a positive outlook for them? Or
So this year at IFC, I did the Epic tier, which means I paid a lot of money for a badge and some really awesome swag. But it gives you line priority. So I kind of became the unofficial, Coogie's going to be at the front of the line anyway, so she can keep an eye out for the DSS folks. And the amount of people that just walked up, saw a chair, just waiting for them to sit in, and knowing that they didn't have to either sit on the floor or stand in line for several hours, it was just immediate relief in their face. And it felt so good to see that something as simple as a chair just made a huge difference. And that's the crazy thing about DSS is it's a lot of, wow, that was just one thing. That was just a simple thing that we did, or that was so easy, or that didn't cost anything. And there's so many changes that we did that involved just stuff like that made such a huge difference in the way that people perceived or interacted with IFC that it was just, it was amazing to be there and to be able to see firsthand the difference that we made.
That is awesome. It's like that direct impact, and it's not like you did something behind the scenes and then kind of never saw it happen, kind of a situation. Right. It's like you're actually there and interacting with the attendees, and to kind of see that in their face, that this con kind of went out of the way. Now hold on, all those other cons you've been to, we're not like them, and let me show you how. Without actually saying that, but that's awesome.
Indy FurCon compared to other cons, rather than DSS type services being sort of an afterthought, we got to make sure we do something for the folks that need wheelchair assistance. Indy FurCon for this year with this team, it was actually at the forethought. It was from step one. We were incorporating this rather than as an afterthought.
I agree with that 100%.
And it's with lots of conversations with all the different team leads throughout the con too. So it wasn't us just us going on our own. I was in constant, frequent contact with all the different team leads for the different departments, and all trying to work with them and give them an idea of what we were looking for to assist our people with disabilities.
Nice. You kind of get everybody on the same page then with that.
Yes.
The most prettiest thing is that we were able to help people not only with the visible disabilities, but those who don't have invisible disabilities, like youth with anxiety, autism. We were able to help people who had actually some stimming episodes. We were able to assist them to be able to have somebody there who knew how to help them self-regulate and be able to return to fursuiting in the fursuit parade was at least one of the examples.
Oh, that's right. We were getting ready that one gal started having an anxiety attack just waiting her turn to join the parade. And that was the thing where just being there, talking with everybody that had DSS wishbands and everything, seeing that, just had Taylor take her over to the Headless Lounge where it was nice and quiet and let her gather herself back together and everything. And then towards the end, as we went and checked on her, see if she was ready, and she was good to go from there. So she was able to take part of it when she was about to have a big breakdown right there before even joining the parade. But we were able to work with her and get her in a situation where she was able to actually take part in the parade.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I'm like, I'm like over here getting like all like.
Yep.
hyped
And
up,
thank you,
I'm trying
Taylor,
to,
so
like-
much for taking the time with her. So,
I don't mind. That's what I do for a living. So,
right?
I walked in the parade. I walked with an individual that had like vision. They couldn't see very well out of their fursuit, and they didn't really do the fursuit parade very often. And I think they were just kind of intimidated, like, oh, I might bump into somebody, or I'm not going to know where to go. I'm not going to be able to hear. I can't really see all that well. And so I said, you know what? I can see just fine. Put your hand on my shoulder and let's go. We're going to do this parade. It'll be a great time.
That's awesome.
And when we got back, the individual took their head off and they were just like, wow, thank you so much. I didn't think I'd be able to do that. And I was like, you did great.
Yeah. I don't want to name drop, but our other person that is of DSS that isn't here, Norbert, actually was able to, in the same way that Coogie did, assist a not just visually impaired, but blind fursuiter who had not participated in a fursuit parade since they went completely blind. And thanks to Norbert doing the same thing that Coogie did, leading them, they were actually able to take part in a fursuit parade for the first time since they went blind.
That is amazing. Like what? What?
Yes.
Like,
Words
And I wish
cannot-
Norbert were here to tell the story. But yeah.
The random acts of kindness that carries the most emotional impact. That can make all the difference in someone's life. And the stories you're hearing right now, these individuals on this team took it upon themselves to go beyond just providing, what we expected of them from the basic dignity support services. They wanted to help. They cared. They showed that compassion. And when they started going and helping others with these genuine random acts, that inspired others to step forward and try to help as well, whether it be getting a chair, whether it be holding a door open, asking if someone needs directions, helping someone onto the elevator, getting water. Positivity pays dividends. It really does.
Throughout the con, anytime I would see anybody with any kind of mobility aid, and if I didn't see they had a wristband, I'd go up and be like, hey, do you know that we have these services? Because we're brand new this year. So a lot of people just didn't know that we had these services. And I had a lot of people be like, I had no idea that you guys had a ADA or anything to help people with disabilities. Was able to be like, hey, I'm part of the team. Let's get you over to the table so we can get you signed up and get you a wristband so you can better enjoy the con. And we had a lot of people that towards the end of the con actually came back by and thanked us for helping. And I think we even had a few attendees give us stickers and other little trinkets as a thank you for helping, which we never ask people for anything because we're just doing this because we want to help. But it's always nice when people want to show their appreciation.
We want to help out for next year too. That was really exciting to hear.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
So
nice.
there was one thing that we did have that, to the best of our knowledge, I could be mistaken, but to the best of our knowledge, no other Furry Con has ever had before. That is, we offered Braille con book program guides.
So that right there, that was what started this. This I was like, wait, what? Braille combo got what?
Yes.
And you kind of had me intrigued at that point, and I was like, okay, I need to. It's not every day you see something like that. That was kind of one of those moments where I was like, all right, I need to get these people in a call, and I need to kind of pick their brains. I need to find out all I can about this because I was like, what? being in the fandom for as long as I have, I'm like, after a while, like you kind of, it's like the same, not the same old, but like if something really needs to kind of jump out. And that was, I was like, what?
Ties in with my experience. I'm not going to name the individual, but it was after actually going and seeing the Braille con book in combination of the chairs and in combination of just the time return pass. They were in tears on Sunday when they came up to me and said, "Thank you for making me feel valued and like I'm an equal." This is the first con in 10 years. They felt that way since they got sick.
Oh my goodness. I would have broken down like right there at the con.
I was a little emotional.
Well, I think we all shed a lot of tears from the stories that people came back to us with of how our team was able to help them. I'm starting to tear up just now, just thinking about it.
When it comes to the support services, like, do you have to train any members who join this department, like on certain techniques and stuff, or is it kind of like people have those skills and then they end up volunteering? Is it like a pipeline for like training people to be in the DSS, or?
As of yet, we haven't had to really deal with training. It being a brand new program, we've kind of worked it all together. We come up with certain plans in place, and we try to keep them somewhat fluid too, because we can come up with certain hiccups. And so we had a couple of hiccups during the convention where we had to go and kind of slightly modify or change our procedure. The biggest thing that we have is a desire to help. If somebody has a desire to help, a passion about helping people with disabilities, that's what we require for the team. As for training, we each kind of have our own little specialties. And so we work together to try to come up with different procedures for different things.
More so like from a chief of staff standpoint, which does help with recruiting and assigning staff to different needs. For this team, we look more so for personality and empathy. If someone comes across as having genuine personality and empathy, you can teach procedures, you can teach advocacy. But those two personality traits, I think, are the biggest aspects.
100%. It's kind of like you want to make sure you got the Legos, like the officially branded Lego set, and not like the off-brand one where it's like, sure, it might click together, but at the end of the day, it's not Lego. I love analogies. I'm sorry.
No, that's
well said. Well said.
How do you inform attendees that DSS is a thing? Like, is there signage? Do y'all kind of like blast social media before the con starts? How do people know about the services DSS provides?
Honestly, it was a bit of both. I had worked with our social media lead, and we had made a graphic about DSS that was specifically with the theme for this year, which was D&D. I had worked with our social media people to get that made, but we also had signage posted around the con. We had our own specific table with a sign that's DSS, and had signs by Reg being oh, here's the DSS line. So honestly, it was a bit of both. And we also had information on the website and all of that fun stuff.
So if anybody at home's watching this and they're kind of you know what, this is what I want to do. Put me in, coach. I'm ready. Where would you recommend they go to for next year IFC?
So if you go to indyfurcon.org, there will be a link to apply to join Team IFC. And if you do that, you can put as part of your application, you're looking to join the DSS team. It'll work its way through the back end magic to a share.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And that's the best way, right?
For next year, I do hope that we get more advertising ahead of time. I feel like this year, because it was a new program, kind of late in the game for the advertising on the social media aspect to go effective. I'm super excited for next year because I have a feeling that we're going to be advertising all the amazing different departments that we have at IFC, and DSS is definitely going to be one of them.
The look on all of y'all's faces kind of shows me that the future is going to be quite bright for IFC. I've seen 90% smiles this entire call, so I'm y'all got it.
This year when we started DSS, Strom and I talked about this quite a bit earlier this year, and just came up with a whole page of different things that we could address. And we could have tried to do a whole slew of things covering all sorts of different disabilities all at once. But we felt like if we tried to do a whole lot this first year, everything would be kind of half-assed. You know what I mean? So what we decided was just to nail it down to a few specific things that we were going to focus on and try our best to do those right and build a good solid foundation for DSS to build upon in future years. So mainly this year, we focused mainly on physical disabilities. We did branch off a little bit with other anxiety and visual and so on. But next year, we already have a couple of plans in place for dealing with neurodivergent type disabilities and stuff like that. I think one of the things in particular that I can say with a surety that we will have next year that we did not have this year is a quiet room with a reduced sensory input with hopefully we're going to get the hotel to give reduced lighting, and it'll be in a quiet area where people are getting just, essentially overloaded can go to this quiet room, just like Taylor did with that gal with the fursuit parade, taken to a quiet area. They can go to a quiet area and just kind of calm down, and then jump back into the fray. So
that's awesome. That's kind of like what I saw at Las Vegas FurCon this year. They had like a spot for that. And I was like, you know what? Out of all the places where it's kind of like constant noise and just stuff going on, Vegas, I was like, whoa, all right, good on you, LVFC.
So we'll be adding a little bit each year, and trying to focus on certain things each year. We're not gonna try to do it all at once, because then everything would be half-assed. But we want to try to do things right, which means just focusing on a few things each year and get that strong foundation for us to build upon, and hopefully get things right and make changes each year as we need to.
And ultimately, this is Indy FurCon, and we want to provide the services that meet the needs of our Hoosier community. As the Shira touched on, we got our, worked on our core foundation, and what services we add down the road will be directly dependent on the lessons learned and attendee feedback received.
Talking about feedback, I have, I just here recently sent out a questionnaire to the people that agreed to be contacted who use DSS. And on a feedback that I get back from them, I'm going to be taking that and compiling it and saying, okay, well, this was a strong need that we didn't have this year. So let's try to focus on that for next year, and so on, and kind of look at where we need to focus our resources based on the responses that we're getting.
So it's only going to get more effective as time goes on. It's like a constantly evolving organism.
Correct. Yeah.
It's not even its final form, is what you're saying.
Right. Not even close.
Coffee, didn't you have like an Excel sheet ready to go like the day we got home from the con?
Yeah, I made a Google Doc that was basically sort of like a living document of like, here, just dump any ideas in this document. We'll sift through it later. Because ultimately, my goal was, instead of being like, when people suggested it, you'd be like, I don't know, be like, let's just get as many ideas down as we can. And then we can just go through it later and see what's possible, what may need refined, and kind of go from there.
And I admit, for the first few weeks after the con, I didn't really do anything. I had so much on my plate trying to get everything ready this year that after the con, my team will attest, they had to keep kicking me out to go take breaks. Go get food and stuff like that, because I was just wanting to be there the whole con working on things. But
sure, you're speaking like a convention leader.
Yeah. So, but I spent the first few weeks home after IFC this year, just basically I'm offline, de-stressing. So
definitely want to afford this opportunity for the fellow DSS team members. If there's anything you'd like to add to the conversation here that perhaps we haven't touched on yet, or a point you want to really reaffirm. After all, you are what helped bring the magic to life.
I work at a local Indianapolis company who also values accessibility. I actually sent them an email last Friday telling them about DSS. I didn't specify the convention because I don't know, but I did tell them about DSS. I did tell them about what we've done, what we're looking to do, and asking for their feedback. And they came back and were just so excited to hear that there's places in the community where this level of care is taking place. It's just so cool to see that it does stretch beyond. Like, we were talking at IFC, oh, well, I want to take this to this convention. I want to take this idea to this convention. I'm on staff over here. And it was just so cool to see this idea, this seed just branch out, because we're all a member of the same community, you know.
I've had more than one convention that I deal with already that have expressed interest in me helping them get theirs going. I'm like, I'm willing to share information, but I'm not building another team. It's too much time. I only have time to build one. So
that is how we as a community, as a furry community, lift one another up. When you see that level of enthusiasm, when you have people actively reaching out, like Ashira just said, to want to learn more, to want to have them come and train their people up, just that kind of mentality, that it's because we all want to come together and keep rising. It's a beautiful thing to see. It's really, in my opinion, this is furry at its best, what you're hearing in this conversation, this mentality.
And I couldn't have done it without Storm. I mean, he's been my support when I've been feeling overloaded and all that. And I know as con chair, that's your job, but still.
I just made sure that all the departments played nice because the chair reports directly to the chair. So if I got to get involved, I mean.
There were a lot of moments where I don't know if anybody else experienced this, where I had to pull the, well, Ashira said so card.
Hey, we have a pecking order for a reason. And sometimes to make change, you're going to ruffle a few feathers. But even, and we did, but even the few feathers we ruffled afterwards, when people saw why we ruffled them and the results, it got buy-in.
Yeah.
So it was worth it.
Yeah. And just to note numbers, we had, was it 2,400 something attendees this year? I don't remember the exact number.
Ooh.
And our DSS program, first year, mind you, we helped 73 people with disabilities.
And not to brag, but didn't we also rank that? Like, didn't we have out of 5 stars, like the highest ranking?
Yeah, well, out of all, we had one of the highest. I think it was out of the 13 rankings that we had in different departments and all, we were like 4th. I think it was 4.06 stars out of 5 or something, which is like
that you all were right up there with help desk. Those are the two definitely most popular from the attendee survey teams we have, which makes sense because both of those teams help attendees, just in different ways. So it's awesome. It means we're doing well.
I just wanted to kind of just thank each and every one of you, not only for what you do for IFC, but for like just people in general. There were moments during this call where I was like, thank goodness I'm wearing a fursuit head because my eyes are getting a little misty over here. Again, from the bottom of my heart, I just wanted to thank all of you for what you do and helping to make the furry fandom an even more amazing place to be.
Thank you so much for having us, Caffeine.
Thank you, everybody, for watching today's video. I really hope you liked it. If you did, feel free to give it a thumbs up. And I don't know, maybe get that booper and boop that bell button for some juicy notifications. But yeah, I will see you on the next video. Bye, DSS. Yeah! Woohoo!
Never stop being you.
I am part of DSS, and I'd like to take a few moments to thank Caffeine for letting me record a separate video. A lot of folks who have issues with mobility will gauge whether or not they can attend a convention based on their pain level. So many people with those issues told us that just having a chair and having the ability to put that pain in the background meant a great deal to them. And that kind of, for lack of better words, brings a human element to the event, and it helps the event grow. It does make such a positive impact on not just the event, but the attendees. The attendees this year found us at our desk, which was in proximity to a lot of the other services that the convention in general offers. We were never too far away from the action, if you will. And a lot of people, this being our foundational year, didn't know that we were there, and when they were guided to us, we helped them out. And actually, one of the things that we discussed very early on in the convention, I think it was Thursday, we were using the wristbands around people's wrists, and somebody came up and said, I need the services, but I have sensory issues with things around my wrists. So we thought on the fly and said, okay, we'll take you down to registration and see if they can punch your hole in your badge a little bit, and we can put your wristband through that hole, and because you're going to have your badge with you all the time. And that helped out so many people with just that. There are a couple services that we, together as a team, wanted to implement. A little sensory room or quiet room. That's in the works for future years. We've been hashing around ideas to coordinate with the hotels and with crowd management to have clear, separate lines, maybe taped onto the floor with like the painter's tape. So this is your general attendee, this is your DSS line, this is your sponsor, super sponsor, and up line. One of the stories that impacted me the most was my friend who's blind. He wanted to participate in the fursuit parade, and I said, let's do it. Guided him through the parade, and when I got back to his room, he said that was the first time that he had participated in fursuiting at a convention in general since he went full blind. And that's just amazing. It expressed how much it meant to him that we were able to do that. I have a background in the healthcare industry, nursing homes specifically, and that taught me empathy and caring, and that's what brought me to want to join the DSS team. I'll continue to do that forever. Well, as long as I can anyway. So I'd like to again thank Caffeine for allowing me to participate in the interview process, even though I couldn't make it to the recording with everybody else.
Oh my goodness, I'd like to give a huge thank you to the following Gold Egg patrons: Ashira Pony, Funtime Wolf, Cinder Kitten, Apollo Bunny, Dynamo, DH, Emerith Cantonine, Eoric Bernison, and Moodle. And a huge thank you to all my other patrons and supporters as well. If you'd like to consider becoming a patron, check me out on the link above. Oh my goodness, thank you.